Hello, good evening. My name is Robbie Ellis. Welcome to this Rush Hour concert from the International Music Foundation here at St. James Cathedral. I'm glad we are able to gather in person now. This is my first one of these for the season. Hello, thank you for having me. And today we've got guests who are no strangers to the concert-going public of Chicago. The Lincoln Trio has been in existence 18 years, is that right?
I think it's 18 years.
2003. Well, I'll introduce I'll introduce the members. At least the year doesn't start with a 1. So, the members are Desirée Ruhstrat on violin, Marta Aznavoorian on piano, and a guy who shares a name with a former New Zealand Labour Party politician, who I'm quite familiar with, notorious one.
Yeah, I try not to publicise that.
David Cunliffe on cello. So, today's program, it's 2 Chicago composers, one who was born here and moved away, one who was born elsewhere, moved here. I'm quite excited about this program because I think it really speaks to what this ensemble is about, promoting composers who are with us today and less discovered. Would you say so?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited. We're excited to be playing, period, actually, in front of a live audience. It's been quite a while. But yeah, this I think is an interesting program. A living composer. In fact, she may even be in the audience, or she may be later on. And a composer that we think is very important that we bring back to life, Ernst Bacon. So yeah, we're very excited.
Well, let's get to Augusta Read Thomas. Marta, maybe you can speak to this. This is a piano trio that wasn't written for this group, but I understand you've played it quite a lot. It's been part of your repertoire since the beginning, almost.
Yes, it was written for the Amelia Trio. It was commissioned by the Chicago Children's Memorial Hospital as a thank you to George Kennedy, who was a contributor and a great supporter of the hospital. It was written in 2001. And it was played in a private thank you party for him. And as the name refers to George Kennedy, as George gave energy to children in need, as does a circle around the sun gives energy and strength and warmth. I might talk a little bit about the piece if I have a feeling that's going to be your next question. It starts off with a very ethereal sounding sonorous and resonance G in all 3 instruments. Rather a nice effect, and this ethereal quality carries. Oh, and G is for George. Incidentally, it's an homage to George, and this carries on for 60 seconds, which is a dial around the clock face. But nobody take out please do not take out your stopwatches and time it. But it is supposed to last for 60 seconds, and then it bursts out to a 4th of energy. Perhaps it's a sundial, a sun flare. Or children energized bursting through a room, and the piece ends with the material as it began on the pitch of G. Augusta has been known in her interviews to love the energy, and she loves when music comes alive. She loves it when music jumps off the page or jumps out of our instruments, and this piece is very exemplary of that.
It's got a lot of sort of childlike exuberance. Yes. And bursting out.
Yes.
And Desiree, I thought I'd ask you, the Lincoln Trio, I believe you commissioned a separate work from Augusta, is that right?
Yes, actually, it's an interesting story, the whole Lincoln Trio story, which that falls into is the former president of the Music Institute of Chicago, Frank Little, knew us all individually, and he put us together for a concert and said, I think you 3 could play really well together, and we did a concert, and we had a great time. And then he called us into his office, and he said, now, not only do I think you should be a trio in residence here, but I have the perfect name for you. So he named us the Lincoln Trio for the land of Lincoln. And actually, one of the first projects that he did for the trio was a companion piece that actually was written before called Moonjig by Augusta. So that's how we basically got introduced to her, and later on we added this. And on our first CD, which was Notable Women, also on the CD label, we feature Moonjig. So this will have come literally full circle to record this as well. So.
Desiree, a few months ago, so I have a day job at WFMT recording young musicians, and one of them was a student of yours who was playing a work by Augusta Read Thomas. And I wanted to get in touch with Augusta, and I'd never met her before, so I was like, "Dear esteemed Professor Thomas Esquire, it would so beseech me, blah, 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 formal language." And she comes back and is like, yes, I love it, I'd love to get in touch with your student, Bella. And so lovely personality over email. I look forward to meeting her in person today. Are you out there yet? No? Not just yet, maybe later.
Maybe later.
Maybe later. In fact, Augusta Read Thomas's works are in Rush Hour concerts 2 weeks in a row. Come back next week. Alex Klein will be playing her song Without Words. So now I'd like to turn to Ernst Bacon, who's a composer not too familiar to me before. Quick bit of biography. Born in Chicago in 1898. I did a bit of research. As far as I can tell, the very first house he lived in was literally right opposite Lincoln Park Zoo. I think I used the whole genealogy tools correctly. Grew up in Lincoln Park. Studied not music, but mathematics and I think was it history? History, yeah, at Northwestern and the University of Chicago. Then moved to Vienna in the 1920s, which would be quite a hotbed of a place to be, musically speaking, and took private composition, piano lessons, and came back to the US, won a Pulitzer Prize, and had a long life and a long career. Who would be able to speak to best about how you came to know the music of Ernst Bacon and why you've decided to, David, yeah? Sorry, you were indicating Desiree.
I will pass it over to David, but it's interesting how we stumbled upon Ernst Bacon was when we were doing a tour for the Ravinia Festival during the Lincoln celebration that they had here. He actually wrote a piece for piano trio and another piano. So we tried to get Wells, called The Death of Mr. President. So Wells Kaufman at the time was the CEO of Ravinia, so we thought this would be great to take on our tour. The only problem is since we were touring around in smaller venues in the state of Illinois, 2 pianos were a little bit hard to come by. So we ended up corresponding with Mrs. Bacon, and she said, well, there's this fantastic piano trio that nobody's really ever played, and can we send it to you? And I'll pass it over to David, because then she sent it to you.
Yeah, this was probably about 10 years ago, and it shows how long sometimes it takes for a project to sort of get going and get recorded. So we're really delighted that this has just gone on a CD with a work by Leo Sowerby called Trios from the City of Big Shoulders.
This is your album release tour.
This is, there we go, yeah, exactly. But we fell in love with this trio by Ernst Bacon. I think he was trying to get away from the modernism that was around him at that time in the 1920s, particularly in Vienna at that time. And so the music is very lyrical, and the piece is in 6 movements, which is unusual in itself. And it starts off with a very mysterious, quite a short movement, and then it's followed by movements with very specific instructions. So the second movement is marked in deliberate march time. And then it's like as if it gets a little bit quicker. Then the next movement is in an easy walk. Then there's this beautiful slow movement that actually, I think he based it on a piece that he wrote originally for cello and piano. And then there's a jazz-influenced fourth movement, and then a very brief movement entitled Commodo that lasts just a minute or two, and then followed by this bombastic last movement, which is based on folk melodies, I would probably describe it as. So yeah, it's been a real discovery for us, and we love playing it.
Yeah, Ernst Bacon lived a long life, 1898 to 1990, and this trio is from near the end of his life, so 1987, but it it's got so much energy and vitality to it. It's a very expansive work. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Marta.
This work consists of a lot of American influences, jazz, ragtime, a lot of jazz rhythms, folk-like melodies, as David said. There's a Civil War tune in the second movement. Bacon was an avid hiker. He loved American geography, and he was lifetime friends with Ansel Adams. They were very close and stayed in touch. He wrote pieces in his name. I think it's interesting to note that just as Ansel Adams portrayed his love for America through his photographs, or Melville and Whitman through their literature, Bacon really wanted to convey his love for America through his compositions. And I think you'll really hear that spirit coming forth in the piece.
I'll say that I know from earlier this month the major national parks out west are jam-packed because everybody had the same idea as my wife and me about, well, we can't fly anywhere, but we can drive through national parks at the moment. So they're very popular right now. This piano trio, David, you alluded to this before, but it is on a new album. I see Jim Ginsberg glaring at me. It's like, publicize this. Well, it's only fair to give you the option. This is the first of 2 albums of Chicago composers that you're putting together. One got recorded during COVID last year. Were you around each other in full face masks and hazmat gear for 6 hours a day, something like that?
Yes, we recorded. We found a pocket of time to sort of get in there and record. We just felt it was time to honor the Chicago composers of the past that had contributed to the cultural molding and refashioning of this great city. And we felt we picked 2 strong, unique composers, both driven for their love of America.
So that album is called Trios from the City of Big Shoulders. But you're going to start production on a second album of Chicago composers.
Yes, I'll let Desiree talk about that.
Yes, so recording shortly is what I hear?
Yes, we're going to record at the end of July, or start recording the end of July, and it's going to be... I think we're super excited about it because we're, again, like the full circle of Augusta Read from our first recording, and then we'll have Shulamit Ran, a beautiful soliloquy that she had written, and Stacy Garrup, who's been a long-time friend of the trio. It's a trio that was written and commissioned by her mother in memory of her father's death. So, and Misha Zupko, and then a new commission by Sean, and I don't want to... Can you help me with his last?
Are you talking about Sean Opebolo? Is this?
Yes. I know. I'm always careful with that name.
Yeah. Pebble with O at either side.
Oh, yes. Perfect.
Sean Opebolo, he teaches at Wheaton College.
He teaches at Wheaton College, and we're super excited about this because we were trying to figure out where we would get a commission from, and when we heard his music, we just fell in love with it. And actually, Alexandra Nichols has done the commission, which is also full circle for us because she was one of the first people at the Music Institute that was really a supporter of the Lincoln Trio. So it really is a special album for us.
Amazing, yes. Sean Opebolo, he's written a lot for voice. There's some lovely lyrical writing, and I really look forward to seeing. Has he written it yet?
Should have it done within the next week or 2, or so he said. So
Right.
we haven't seen it yet, but...
What did Douglas Adams say? I love the sound that deadlines make as they whoosh by my ear, or something like that. So is this your first gig out of hibernation or close to it? And what else do you have coming up?
I think this is our first Bodies in the Room gig. We did the recording. We were at Ravinia. We did a few things for Ravinia over quarantine, and we'll start playing again. And we're going to be in California. We're going to be out east, and just happy to be playing in Chicago and having you all here live.
I'm glad to be here live. I haven't done one of these in-person things in 16 months, so it's all a bit fun. You didn't want to be reminded of this, but I'm going to remind you of it anyway. It is the Lincoln Trio's 20th anniversary in a couple of years. Have you got any big plans in the works for that? Have you even started thinking about it? If you haven't, that is absolutely understandable given the circumstances.
We have some plans. We can't share them with you just now, though.
Well, thank you for coming to the talk. The Lincoln Trio, David Cunliffe, Marta Aznavoorian, Desirée Ruhstrat. We're going to take a short break so you can get some refreshments as you need. Please come back for further Rush Hour concerts. We've got Alex Klein, oboist, next week with Lilia Waldschlager on piano. More from Augusta Read Thomas, also William Grant Still and Hindemith and Pavel Haas. And this concert will start at 5:45. My name's Robbie Ellis. Thank you, and let's enjoy the concert in 10 minutes. Welcome to the Rush Hour concerts at St. James Cathedral in Chicago. I'm Robbie Ellis. This concert is presented by the International Music Foundation, which is grateful for support from the Claire, Rush Hour Concerts exclusive media sponsor, at the National Endowment for the Arts and the Illinois Arts Council. I'd like to acknowledge the presence today of the composer of one of the works you're going to hear, Augusta Read Thomas, and you'll also hear the music of Chicago-born composer Ernst Bacon. So to perform this music, please welcome to the stage violinist Desirée Ruhstrat, cellist David Cunliffe, and pianist Marta Aznavoorian of the Lincoln Trio.
Thank you.